Hello, this is Bill Webb, aka Bill Indiana. Today I'm going to do my crowdfunding update for April 2022. And it's already a week into May, so I'm a little bit late, but better late than never. So I'm going to talk to you about games that I backed in April, games that I've been following in April and now into May, and even a couple games that I'm anticipating that are on the horizon. If you're curious to see what I've been looking forward to on the crowdfunding, Kickstarter, and Gamefound platforms, stay tuned. All right, before I talk to you about the crowdfunding games that I've been interested in, let me give a shout out to Board Game Co. Alex from Board Game Co. does his monthly updates, and you can see here is his upcoming Kickstarter and Gamefound board games for the month of May. So you can check out that video here if you're interested. And he always has tons and tons of videos. He's gone full time now with this gig. And then another one that I really love to follow is Shelf Clutter. Just watched his video this morning for the games coming up this week. Again, if you click on the videos link here, this one is just a few hours ago, clips from Trailblazer, John Muir Trail, which I'll be mentioning a little bit later. And you can see these different shelf clip videos. But this one coming to Kickstarter, that's the video that I always look forward to every week, so I know what's coming in the coming week. Plus, he always has tons of giveaways. So shout out to Adam at Shelf Clutter. Now, the two that I backed in April, one kind of didn't back because I won it on the Shelf Clutter channel. So Mercurial is a game that I was very excited about, planning to back, but then won an all-in bid, all-in pledge for Mercurial. This is a dice manipulation, dice rolling solo competitive co-op. It seems like it has everything, dice, cards, really beautiful art. And I was just really excited to win the pledge since I was planning on backing it anyway. And lots of great reviews from Rado, from Stella, and many others, The Hungry Gamer. Lots of people really enjoying this game, and I am just thrilled. It's over, so you can click here if you want to get notified for late pledge and support David Go and his company if you're curious about Mercurial. But that's one that I have coming in the future that I'm very excited about. And the other one that I did back, and it is Western Legends, the big box, and I actually did go back and late pledge it. So here you can do the late pledge. There is a link, and I'll have links to all of these down below. I have everything Western Legends except for Blood Money, and that is just on pre-order that I'm just still waiting on. Everything else I have, and so just having the big box to put it all into one spot with all of these containers, I decided, in the end, I went back. I decided not to back a few of the games I was leaning towards and decided to get this instead to put everything in one spot. I'm a little bit of an organizer that way. That's part of my love of the hobby. So that's the one game that I paid for and backed in April. Or not even really a game, but the big box for the game. So that is all that I backed, all that I supported in the month of April. It was kind of a slow month for me, just pinching the pennies, trying to make sure I'm diligent that way. And there were a bunch that I was following and some that just didn't make it. So Elric, Rise of Young Kingdoms, this one was canceled. It's unclear whether this one's coming back. There's some notes in the updates that they will probably try. It says, they wanted to make sure it was exactly what they wanted for their fans. And then I think in here, if I remember correctly, it said they're going to come back in a few weeks, potentially, a matter of weeks. So if you were interested in Elric, Rise of the Young Kingdoms, keep your eye out for that one being relaunched. Another one is Anunnaki, and this is one that a lot of people are really excited about, but same thing, funding was canceled, and they already have a predicted date sometime even later in May. And so if you were interested in Anunnaki, Dawn of the Gods, I think a lot of people were concerned about some of the way things were presented here by Cranio Creations, some of the costs that were listed, some of the breakdowns in the Pledge Manager, and so they just decided after a very short period of time they were going to pull the plug, kind of revamp everything and come back. So lots and lots of minis on this one. If you like that kind of game, you might be interested. I was going to check it out, and before I even had a chance to, it canceled. So looking forward to when it launches again so I can learn more. 4X Hybrid Euro game. So 4X games are hit or miss for me. Euro games, I generally enjoy most of the Euro games that I've played. So curious to see how that's going to come together. Another one that didn't make it, Euthia, Torment of Resurrection and Fierce Powers. This one's on Gamefound by Dia Games. Same thing. This one was canceled, and from the things that I've read online, seems like maybe this company is not going to make it. I hope that's not the case. This one is a game, the game's already out, and this I think is expansions for that game, a reprint and expansions, and it sounds like Yeah, I hope I misread what I heard. I hope I'm wrong on that, but it sounded like maybe the company's really having some struggles. Don't know if this one's going to come back or not. Hope the company can make it. Hope this game can come to fruition. This reprint and expansions here. Wish all the best for that company. Next up, Jurassic World. Now we're into the ones that I followed, and a lot of these have late pledges. So again, links down below. Legacy of Isla Nublar. Curious about this one, but the cost just kind of took it off the possibilities for me. Love to play it in the future sometime. If you're curious and want to late pledge, again, links down below. And then another one, Bad Karmas. This one I mainly looked at because of the Teburu. I wasn't interested in the Bad Karmas, the Curse of the Zodiac game, but I was interested in this dynamic board that eventually will have other games, the Smart board. So very curious about this technology, but wasn't at all interested in this game, so we'll see. Maybe they'll come back with another Kickstarter and a different game that draws me in more, but did follow it because of the technology feature here. And again, if you want to follow along, you can click here, so you'll be notified potentially when new games come with their Teburu console. Another one that I followed and was close to backing was Encyclopedia. This one, again, you can late pledge here. This one by Holy Grail Games, a very Euro game. Alex from Board Game Co. is over the moon on this one. Dice placement mechanic. Be able to choose different animals. It reminded me of like Darwin's Journey and some of those games, so the art just really was pretty cool. I like dice worker placement games, so I was tempted on this one, but ended up not backing it. Who knows, I might end up late pledging this one down the road, or more likely probably just hopefully one of my friends will end up with this one and get a chance to play it at game night sometime. But definitely followed this one for a while with the dice placement. Very curious about it. A lot of people really seem to love it. Late pledge is available if you're curious, if you're interested. Age of Rome was another one where I wasn't interested at first, and then as I started hearing people talking about it, it seemed like it was much different than I expected. Much more of a Euro game, resource management kind of a deal. So I did follow this one and was interested. So we got this unique spinning board representing Roman provinces in 44 BC. It's a competitive game where you're working in trade, military, religion, farming, politics, and backstabbery. Quackalope and several others, Alex from Board Game Co. Quite a few people really enjoyed this game. And so I was more intrigued. The whole rotating board was interesting. But I did hear some mixed reviews. Some people saying, yeah, they liked it but didn't love it. So this is one that I decided to hold off on. Hopefully I'll get a chance to play it sometime in the future. I would like to, but just can't back every game that I'm interested in. So did not pull the trigger on this one, but looked cool. And if you are interested also, there's a link here you can follow along in case they have late pledges. Another one that I checked out was Kingdoms Rise and Fall Dorian. This art just drew me in, and it's a deck building game, which I really enjoy. The things that held me back, it was for 3 to 6 players, and just if it can't play with 1 or 2, then I just generally am not going to spend a ton of money on a game that is more limited on player count, because I have a hard time getting 3 or more players consistently. I have a game group where we do that, but we're always sharing each other's games and playing each other's games, and it wouldn't be one that I would get a lot of gameplay out at that game count, or at that player count, sorry. But it looks beautiful to me, and I was very intrigued. But yeah, for the cost and the limited player count, just didn't seem like a good fit for me. But it is something that if you want to, you can go to the website, potentially have a chance to late pledge down the road. Another one that I was just interested in because I've never played Skull Hollow, and so I was curious about that, and Maul Peak. I followed the videos, I watched along, and as I learned more about the game, I decided it sounds cute, sounds like something I would enjoy, but just decided for $90 for 2 games, just didn't, or $45 just for the sequel, just didn't feel like it was drawing me in quite enough. The art was cute, but not just like really attractive for me. Gameplay seemed interesting, but I wasn't sold on it. So decided not to go after this one, but again, link here for late backers if you're curious and like to check it out. Aldarra was another big one, big epic sprawling 4X strategy game. All these huge minis, and I think this one, if I remember correctly, it was launched and then they came back with smaller features because the things they had initially were just so big, people were like, that's too big. So I may be misremembering this, but that seemed to be my recollection, that they kind of changed a few things and then came back and then did quite well. I did not back this one just for the cost. It's going to be an expensive game when you have all these minis, and most 4X games are so big and grandiose, they do have higher cost. And again, they're hard to get to the table for me. Just that big of a game that requires that long a playing time. and the cost level, just cost efficiency for me in terms of gameplay, how often I would get to the table. It looks really cool. Really hope to play it one day. I got to play Twilight Imperium this last month, or a couple months. I got to play Dwellings of Eldervale, some other big, sprawling, epic-looking games. And just playing my friend's copy with my gaming group was enough, and I feel like, hopefully I'll get a chance to do that here. You can pre-order Late Pledge. Again, links down below. Guess I don't need to say it every time because that's true for all of these. Legacy of Thracks: The Awakening. This has a solo by David Turczi, which a lot of people like. It's a Euro resource management that looks like it's going to be a Amerithrash. So yeah, I was drawn in and wanted to check this one out. A lot of people were pretty interested in how the look of a Euro Thrash game was going to have a real thorough Euro game. Sorry, Amerithrash game, have a real Euro style of play. 1 to 4 players, hybrid, combining those different mechanics, tactical and strategic, infinite replayability, all these different player modes. Looked pretty interesting, but I just didn't get quite drawn in. It wasn't super expensive, $79 for the base game, but then a little bit more for the deluxe, which is probably where I would have gone all in. You're over 100. And it looked interesting, but this is, again, one of those I was like, well, I really want to try this first. I'm not quite sold enough to just jump in and put the money in it right away. Trying to be really picky because there are a bunch of games coming up that I'm very interested in. So this one did not get chosen, but you can late pledge. All right, Paradox Initiative. This one was so unique in that it was a remake of a game called Paradox, and it's been revamped, rebooted, art from like 20 or 30 different artists. So really clever to do that, bringing so many different artists in to create such a unique appearance to this game in this sort of interesting sort of mad scientist wormhole time travel. Yeah, it sounds interesting, but it looks very abstract. And so while it really intrigued me and I was very much excited for it for a long time, I think part of it, the excitement wore off because it took so long from when I heard about it coming to when it actually came. And then it seemed so much more abstract than I hoped. Again, this is one that I would love to try sometime. I almost went in for the standard edition. That's a pretty good price for a new game with, the unique ability or the unique design that this one had. But yeah, I decided if I was going to go for it, then I'd be more tempted to get these other levels. Then do I want to spend that much on a game I'm not sure I'm sold on? So yeah, didn't go for this one. But is one that I do hope to play in the future. And if you want to get notified for late pledges, there's a link. Another one, I've never played Maglev Metro, never been interested too much in it, but everybody that I've talked to loves it. Some of my best friends that play games with me love it. Thinker Themer really enjoys Maglev Metro. And so I thought, well, maybe I should jump in here and, get this with the expansions. But having still not had a chance to play it, I just couldn't pull the trigger. Because there was a lot of, if you just want this expansion, it's 30. If you just want that one, it's 30. If you want the map pack, it's 80. And it just started adding up really quickly. So I still want to play it, but I wasn't willing to jump in after, looking at it again and still not being fully drawn in myself. I'm sure it's going to be one of those games where once I have a chance to play it, I'll probably enjoy it much more than I anticipate. But did not end up backing this one. Nothing yet on late pledge, but keep your eye out on that for the future. All right, and then the Dark Quarter. I tend to really gravitate towards Lucky Duck, but this one with the darker theme and the sort of PG-13 or higher mature theming, I was like, I don't know, there might be certain people I wouldn't feel comfortable playing this with, and the supernatural theme just didn't really draw me in. Wouldn't mind trying it sometime. I think it's going to be sort of Destinies with some improvements, and I really do enjoy Destinies. But the theming for this one is just what turned me off. But I definitely followed it just because I enjoy what Lucky Duck does with their games and their app integration. And so definitely wanted to kind of keep an eye on it. But I was never really too tempted for this one just because of the theme. Just doesn't fit for me personally and my family. But you can get notified for late pledges if you missed it and are curious to know more. Great Wall reprint. Now I played Great Wall just one time, and there were a few things that were just fiddly enough in iconography that was unclear, and wording on some of the cards and wording in the rules. It just felt like a little bit of a struggle to get into the game. And then when we played the game, I really enjoyed it. But I don't know, I was tempted for the reprint because the rulebook is supposed to be revamped, some of the cards revamped, some of the iconography cleaned up. But it's a big investment. I'm talking, we're talking $200 or more to really get the expansions in the game. And I enjoyed it. But again, my friend has a copy. He's got he ordered the Black Powder expansion. I do want to play it again. I did enjoy it. Just couldn't put this kind of money in for a game that I just enjoyed and didn't love. If I had been blown away, I would have been much more tempted. But in the end, I liked it, didn't love it. And you can see you can get all the way up to 340 euros here. Just the basic pledge with the stretch goals is 120 euros plus shipping. So, and then if you want the gameplay, you're at 189 euros plus shipping. So you're easily over $200 if you want just the gameplay without the sun drop. So too expensive for my blood for a game that my first impression was I liked it, didn't love it. I do want to get back to it. I'm glad my friend owns a copy. Want to play it again. Want to play the co-op version. But for now, didn't jump in on this reprint. Castles by the Sea by Brotherwise Games. This was just like a little cute game, and so it drew me in. I've enjoyed some of the Brotherwise games I've played, and I backed their Call to Adventure game that they recently had on Kickstarter. So I'm excited about that. But this one, as I looked at it, I thought, it's cute. I'm not sure I'll love it. It seemed a little bit too much Take That too, knocking each other's sandcastles down. So yeah, I ended up not pulling this trigger on this one either. But not a super expensive game and looks cute. So check it out if you're interested. Nothing here yet on late pledges, but maybe there will be something in the future. And then we have Anastyr by Mythic Games. This was another one of those epic miniatures based games. You can see up here, Epic Quest cooperative game. And just the style of the miniatures, I thought, I don't think my wife's going to be drawn too much in. She likes cooperative games, but the storyline, the style of the miniatures, the style of the art, I thought, yeah, this isn't something my wife's going to be too interested in. And it is very expensive. Just for the base, it's 130, and then if you want the dragon, it's 160, and then you can get the caravan for 400. Yeah, I'm shying away more and more from these big epic games because they end up sitting on my shelf more than not. I don't get them to the table enough to make it worth that kind of investment. And this one just didn't seem like a great fit theme-wise either. So definitely followed it, checked it out. A lot of people are very interested. I believe this is that side-scroller game. So the board is moving sideways, which is unique. And like the computer games would have you feel. And so, yeah, definitely checked it out, but didn't go for this one either. And if you want to visit Mythic Games, you can see if there's going to be a late pledge option. And then Last Light by Gray Fox Games. A friend of mine tried this at Dice Tower West and really enjoyed it. And everyone he talked to said that they enjoyed it. And I love the idea of a 4X game you can play in an hour. But I don't know. The art and design of this one, there was something about it. It just didn't stick for me. The coloring scheme and the art itself just didn't connect with me. I'd love to try it sometime. And I was really tempted just to support Roy. He's, seems like a really great dude. But the more I looked at it, it's like, I don't really know if I would enjoy this. And I'm not drawn in by the art at all. Space theme is hit or miss for me anyway. So yeah, I was tempted, but did not back this one. It's just recently finished. And so if you're curious, it was just funded 2 days ago. So there will probably be some late back options in the future for this one. This one is finishing up in 14 hours. This is by DMZ Games called Phraya. I'm not sure. It's set in Bangkok, but by a group of designers from Spain, I believe. And yes, new Spanish created board game set in Bangkok. And Michael Menzel art, just gorgeous art. It's a worker movement and market speculation game. Thinking about this one, I don't know that I'm great at market speculation games or that I really have a huge love for them. But looking through the video of the gameplay and watching moving of the boats and activating the markets on either side of the boats and pick up and deliver is not necessarily one of my favorite mechanisms, but curious about this one. Kind of running out of time though. So I don't know. We'll see. I think there was an early bird, but it looks like you can still add it. So maybe it's just like up to a certain number of people rather than a time frame. So you can either add this one for 42 euros or this one for 45. I think it's the same thing though. And then the retailer pledges with some add-ons. A very short, page here. Shipping is to the USA 18 to 20 euros. Not particularly expensive. Looks beautiful. Just not sure about the gameplay if it's something that my wife and I would enjoy. It kind of reminds me artistically of Teburu, a game that was set in Indonesia that I was very attracted to and did back. Not many hours left to decide on this one. Probably will fall by the wayside because of some of the other ones we're going to talk about here in a couple minutes because I have to pick and choose, but very beautiful. And Yeah, very tempted because that art is incredible. And the worker movement commodity speculation combo. Yeah, curious about this one. But there's this one that's more tempting to me because I've enjoyed Sleeping Gods quite a bit, and I would love to try Distant Skies by Red Raven Games. Only 2 days left, and I haven't backed it yet. I've put more than 20 hours into Sleeping Gods, and yet I still have so much more for that game. But by the time this one comes, like, when is it supposed to deliver here? Campaign ends, not seeing it here, probably somewhere down below when they expect it to deliver, but it'll probably be late 2023 or something. So by the time this would come, hopefully I am through all of Sleeping Gods. And I tried this print and play Primeval Peril, and the print and play was just by the time I got it all put together, I was like, I don't even know if I want to play it now. It was just too much. I'm not into the print and play world. I was curious enough that I tried it, but then didn't do it. So I don't know. Might be interested in picking up that as an actual developed board game that I don't have to make myself. They got the foreteller audio narration now. I've enjoyed foreteller in our Gloomhaven campaign we've been going through. And you can get the Everything New pledge for $128, which is kind of what I'm leaning towards because it would be the Distant Skies, Primeval Peril, and the foreteller. But I'm not sure if I need the foreteller or Primeval Peril. And I could add foreteller later perhaps and save the money now if I just want to go for the base 85. So I'm kind of waffling back and forth between these. It is expensive, but knowing how many hours I've already gotten out of Sleeping Gods and how many more hours I'm going to get out of it, if I can get the same kind of time play out of Distant Skies and enjoy it just as much, and they have cleaned up a few things, made the combat a little more streamlined, made some of the other play features that people didn't enjoy about Sleeping Gods, some of the things that I wasn't super excited about, they've adjusted some of those things. So I think it's going to be an even more enjoyable and even better game, but with the same kind of feel and set in the same world. So very excited about this one. Couldn't wait for it to come. I knew it was going to be expensive, and the way our budget is right now, I'm like, I don't know if I can really afford to spend this, but yeah, very tempted. Going back and forth on whether I should. I got 2 days left to make a decision. Definitely one that I think's worth investing in if you are at all interested. And you got about 2.5 days at the time of this recording. This is Sunday, so it looks like you got till Tuesday to decide, or maybe Wednesday. All right, Wayfarers of the South Tigris. This is a Garfield Games, and I will not be backing this one. I'll just say straight up, but I will definitely desire to play it. Really, for these games from Garfield Games, if you back them, you get some slight advantages for picking up the Kickstarter version, but you're going to get it cheaper at retail. And I've always enjoyed but not loved the Garfield games, except for Hadrian's Wall. Hadrian's Wall I love, but all the others have just been okay for me. And so I don't want to spend more just to try to get it earlier. I'm not that crazy about it, although the dice placement, dice manipulation, dice worker, that kind of game generally jives for me. I'm hoping this is going to be another Garfield game like Hadrian's Wall that really clicks with me. So I do want to try it, but I'm just going to wait for retail or wait till one of my friends gets it and play their copy. It sounds pretty interesting from what I've seen in the videos that I've watched. So very excited about the game, but I'm not going to back it. Just going to wait for retail on this one. So there's Wayfarers of the South Tigris. Next up, Oranienburger Kanal by Spielworks, an Uwe Rosenberg game. This one I just clicked and have kind of been following because it's an Uwe game, and I wanted to know more about it. It's got a few expansions. It seems like kind of an interesting economic game. Uwe's games are kind of hit or miss for me. This page, to be honest, is kind of bland, and the game a little bit seems kind of bland. I don't know. So, yeah, I haven't been drawn in. I saw it was on the horizon and was pretty interested in it. And then when it arrived and I saw how the page looks and how the game looks, I thought, nothing really drawing me in here. So this is one I'm sure lots of people will have, a lot of my friends will have, and so I'll get a chance to play it. So I don't think I'll probably be backing this one, but yeah, check it out if you're curious. There's 5 more days. Fliptown, this is a flip and write game, a Western setting, and I love Western setting games. I watched a couple of videos on this one. It sounds like it's going to be pretty fun. They've got quite a variety of different ways to play this game. A lot of different variants, even that have been developing during the Kickstarter program here. Johnny Pack is Johnny Pack gives this comment: Fliptown's hand down my favorite game of the genre. Thematic, elegant, beautifully designed graphically and gameplay wise. So yeah, that caught my attention. Yeah, there's these mini expansion here. Bobby Hill, the Hadrian's Wall creator, who I really enjoy that game. A great addition to the flip and fill genre with unique draw mechanic using deck of cards. Wild West theme shines through. The solid gameplay, definite keep. So yeah, I'm very interested in this one, and it's a lot cheaper than some of the other ones that I've been curious about. And like I said, I like the Western theme. I'm a sucker for Western movies and like Western themed games. So yeah, I'm definitely curious about this. We look at the game. Let's see. Let's scroll down here past these and see. Here's what's in the box. Got these dry erase boards, dry erase markers, the cards that go with the game, all these different types of cards that you'll be using in the game. And then down here, let's see, we get the shipping. It's 11 for one copy to the US. This was where I'm located. So that's a little bit about the game. If we look over here, you can get the print and play for $5. You can get, there's retail. Here is the physical copy for $25. Like I said, very inexpensive for games. You can get a couple of copies of it if you want. So with a shipping that's reasonable here and a very cheap cost, this is one that I'm probably going to back based on all the things I've heard about it. Definitely affordable. I tend to like roll and write somewhat. I love the Western theme. I think it looks cool. I've been impressed by what I've heard from the people who've played it. So definitely leaning towards this one, but haven't backed it yet. Fliptown. 11 days left. This one I heard from Brandon and Lexi from All Aboard Gamer. I feel like I should blow a train horn every time I say that, but it's Broken and Beautiful. This is about kintsugi, the mending of broken pottery. 12 days to go on this one. It's a card game, and I'm not typically in love with card games, but this is really beautiful, and I like the theming. It's such a unique theme of this broken. You break the pottery and you mold it back together with this gold. Yeah, it's got a snake draft, kind of Sushi Go with the drafting, that kind of a deal. So yeah, tempted to keep following this one and see. I haven't watched all these other videos. I've only seen the one from All Aboard Gamer so far. I'll probably check out this Hunger Gamer video. 2 versions, standard and deluxe. It's not too expensive. Shipping is going to be 8 to 10 for the standard, 8 to 16 for deluxe. That seems a little high for the size of the game, but shipping these days is nuts. So we look at the pledge levels over here. $16 for the standard edition, $30 for the deluxe. The deluxe sounds cool. Refined components, limited release, unlock deluxe stretch goals. Sounds cool, but if I do back this one, I'm pretty sure I'll just go in for the standard edition. It's half the cost. And card games in my house just we get played occasionally, but not frequently. So putting the extra money in for the deluxe edition, I'm not really sure is going to be worth it for me, for our family. I'd probably just go for the standard edition. But that's where we're at for Broken and Beautiful. Definitely considering this one. 12 days to go. Check it out if you're interested. Cytress, an immersive cyberpunk game. And this one is one that's got a very unique design. You're building these tubes up, and it's got this tree, sort of Everdell. I haven't played Everdell, but I've seen it and backed the collector's edition. But this has that kind of tree, Everdell-looking tree thing, and you're building up these tubes. The theme is that the rich people live up in this stratos, I think it's called. Yeah, this upper level, and they're draining their trash down on you guys, or all of us living down below. And we're trying to work these tubes to get up to the top. It's a competitive racing game, I believe. Kind of, you're trying to be the first one to get up to the top and escape. Yeah, it's interesting. The cyberpunk theme and the art style for this one also isn't really drawing me in too much, but the clever design and the unique multi-level of this game looks cool. The Founder's Experience, 1 copy of the game for $59. That's a very good price for this kind of a game. And then if you want the narrative experience with the RPG sort of features, it jumps quite a bit. And then if you want everything, $149 for all the RPG stuff and all the Origin Pack add-ons. And then the Divine Experience, if you really want everything, and I think you want your name listed in, and you get to name one of the structures, you can back it at a much higher level. So that's where this one's at in terms of cost. We've got some travel packs, character packs, mission packs, a bunch of different add-ons and stuff that I'm sure come in the different levels as you look at those, or you can add them on individually if you prefer. Here's a picture of everything laid out, and then some previews and reviews here. Scroll down through this. I've watched a few of these. Lots and lots of previews and reviews. And then here we get down to the shipping. $16 for 1 copy to the US, which is where I'm located. You can see where you're at, what it might be for you. So that is Cytress, one that I'm curious about. Probably won't back it just because the theme isn't really drawing me in too much, but very clever. It looks interesting. I'd love to try it sometime, and who knows, maybe as I learn more about it, maybe I'll be drawn in even more. Next is Damask by Radical 8 Games. This one is a very abstract looking game. You've got this wheel spinning and you're pulling the silk off based on how that spins, and you're building these fabrics with the silk. It looks maybe a little too abstract for me. It's pretty, and the gameplay seems interesting, but abstract games sort of have a short lifespan in our home, and my wife's just not into them too much. So, although this does look really pretty, she does like Azul, which this is giving me some Azul vibes just with the color scheming. I don't know, I'm not even sure why. Just something about it makes me think maybe it's the abstract nature of it. I did watch this, is it Kimberly Tolson, I think is her name, that's now with Rado's channel. Watched her video, and then I also watched this JLTEI, Just Let Terrence Explain It video. And I think I watched this one too, the Tantrum House. So this one's not too expensive, £27 for the base game here. So yeah, looks kind of interesting. I'm not sure if it'd just be too abstract to have a long lifespan in our family. Shipping down here, it's £8 to the UK, $10 to the US, and you can see if you live elsewhere what it might be for you. So Damask or Damask, I'm not sure how you'd pronounce it. I heard it in the video, but I've already forgotten how she pronounced it. So, but that's one that I've been following, and there are 16 days left on that one. Now, this is one of the other ones that, like Sleeping Gods Distant Skies, this is the other one that's like taking my focus here, because Ra is a Reiner Knizia classic auction game that I've wanted to play, and this is a chance to get a very updated, very beautiful version with Ian O'Toole art. And so I'm more leaning towards this and Sleeping Gods than I am leaning towards any of the others. And I probably can only get one or at most two games this month, and so it's probably down to this and Sleeping Gods as my leaning. You can get the standard for 40, which is kind of what I'm leaning towards. I don't think I need all the deluxe features, but I don't know, the chance to get the deluxe one, which won't be at retail, it sounds like, where you get all the gameplay content, double-sided boards, everything's wooden, a nice tile bag, upgraded tiles, yeah, metal point tablets. I don't know. It shows you the difference, the premium wood versus the regular cardboard and all the different tiles. So, but it's twice the cost. So I'm not sure, and I haven't even played it yet. I do have a friend who has Ra, so I'm hoping to get a chance to play his original version and see if I really like the gameplay, and then that might help me decide, do I splurge and go for the deluxe edition? If I do, it's probably the only game I get, and maybe not get Sleeping Gods and hope to get that later down the road, the Distant Skies version of Sleeping Gods. Or if I do end up getting Sleeping Gods, then I would definitely go for standard version here just to save the money. So yeah, still on the fence on how that's going to come together. Lots of people love Ra. It's a modern classic, or I'm not even sure if you'd say modern classic, but just classic. And it is 12 shipping for the standard and 15 for the deluxe in the US and some of these other locations, Zone 1. And you can check these other zones out if you live elsewhere to decide if the shipping will either make or break the deal for you. But if you've been wanting to get a copy of Ra, this classic Reiner Knizia game, here's a good chance. You got 17 days left, so I'm hoping in the next 2 weeks I can hopefully play this with my friend and decide where, if at all, I'm going to jump in on this one. So that is Ra, 25th Century Games. Next up, Through Ice and Snow. This is one that I heard about actually from my friend Alex from Might I Suggest a Game, and then since then I've seen Rado talk about it and some others. It's trying to find the Northwest Passage, a competitive game. Working your way through, trying to survive. It kind of gives me these Robinson Crusoe vibes, but not cooperative, but competitive instead. Modular board. I watched a couple different videos now, and it looks interesting. You change the board up every time, so you have a different path as you're trying to get through this Northwest Passage. As you can see, these pieces chopping on at different places and how the map might look different every time. Incredibly thematic, tight worker placement with tough decisions. You feel the icy grip bearing down on you. I am jonesing for this game, says Rado. And they did a really good job, it sounds like, of talking with experts to make sure they were respectful and culturally appropriate in the use of the theming and the cultures represented in this game. So that's really great to see and draws me in. And here's Alex, a worker placement with dynamite, shotguns, and huskies. Sign me up. Yeah, Alex is hilarious. Loved his take on the game. Definitely one that I'm very curious about. I'm not sure, can it measure up to Ra for me? Can it measure up to Sleeping Gods for me? Because since I know a little bit more about those games, and this is something I won't know. I'd be taking more of a risk on. So where will my decisions lie? Well, stay tuned. Next month I'll let you know what did I choose. You can upgrade your ships and your crew as you're going across here. And yeah, it looks, there's these Myths and Legends expansion, Permafrost expansion, other features here. Solo mode. They've unlocked a bunch of pledge levels, and here are the pledge levels. Or sorry, a bunch of stretch goals, and here are the pledge levels. You can access to the pledge manager for €1. Might do that at least. We'll see. €50 for the Explorer's Pledge, which is the base game and the first player medal token. 75 if you want the expansion, the Captain's Pledge here, and the medal token. And then Admiral's Pledge if you want all the above, plus the postcards and the Captain's Log. I would not be going in at this level. Probably this one to get the expansion. Or like I said, may just do the Pledge Manager access for now. Not sure. And then they got twin pledges down here. Add-ons, the metal figure if you want that. Stretch goals, like I said, they've unlocked a bunch of stretch goals here. You can see all of these have been unlocked down to the last few. And there's still some time left, so they will probably unlock these as well. Maybe they'll even add some more. And here's some events they're talking about and some images. Really pretty. There's something unique about this art style that really draws me in. And then shipping, €10 for the base, 12 for the base and expansion at the US, and then you can see other places in the world what the shipping would be. Project timeline looks like it would deliver next summer probably. All right, so there we have that one. Through Ice and Snow, 18 days left to go. Now we get on to some that are on the horizon. Trailblazer, the John Muir Trail. This one actually is scheduled to launch on the 10th of May, so 2 days from now. The John Muir Trail is near me. It's kind of been a Grail concept. I'd love to do that, a bucket list kind of event. I'd love to hike part or all of the John Muir Trail. Probably would never be able to do the whole thing, but you can click here to get notified on launch. It's by Mariposa Games, also I think located here in California, if I'm not mistaken, and looks beautiful. I've seen a couple of different gameplays and very excited to know more about this one. Definitely be checking this out in just a couple of days. Another one, I don't know when it's going to launch. It was talked about in March and then again in April, then in May, but haven't still seen a firm date. Dunhuang, Pearl of the Silk Road. I've been actually following this a little bit since last fall, so it's been, 6 or more months, but I think they're just trying to make sure it's ready. Hopefully they can launch it and not have to relaunch like so many companies seem to be having to do recently. So we'll see. This is by Jing Studio. Art looks good. The little bit that I've seen online talking about it sounds really cool. Thematic, immersive worker placement game. So definitely want to check this one out whenever it does launch. And then some that a lot of people have been talking about. The journey continues with the Tainted Grail Kings of Ruin. This is a standalone sequel to the Tainted Grail. I haven't played Tainted Grail, but one of my friends owns it, and when he finishes it, he said he'll loan it to me so I can give it a shot and try it out, see if it's one that would fit my wife and I. I think I would really enjoy it. I'm not sure if the darker theme is something my wife would get into much, so we'll see. Looking forward to trying my friend's copy, and then whenever this launches, checking this one out to know if it might be jump in on this one instead of the original. We'll see. Another one that I'm very excited, especially now that I've played Castles of Burgundy, having played the actual board game and now I even played it online as well. Very interested to see what this is going to turn out to be. The art and design of the previous versions have not inspired anyone, and it sounds like Leon Ravensburger teaming up with Awaken Realms here is trying to bring something that's just going to please, you're never going to please everybody, but please many more Burgundy fans. So will it be over the top? Probably. Will I be sucked in? Maybe. We'll see. I really enjoyed Castles of Burgundy. I enjoyed the dice game and the card game that I played last year, and especially the dice game really did enjoy. And then when I played the base, the actual original was great. I imagine though this is going to be very expensive, and so that's going to be the make or break point for me when it does launch. We'll talk about it again. And then another one coming soon. Now this is one that I mentioned. This probably been over a year ago. Rise and Fall. I saw something on that it was going to launch in 2021, and it never did. And I think before they were saying they thought it might launch in 2020, but it's got this tile laying in 3D. So you got layers of tile building up the terrain here, and it sounds like now finally from Ludicali this group is getting actually close to a launch. I've seen Q3. Earlier, I thought it was hinting that it might be even in May. Now it's looking maybe like Q3. We'll see. I don't know, but I've been kind of looking forward to this one for a long time, and this even looks more cool and developed from what I saw a year ago. So there you have it. That's the crowdfunding update. Those games on Gamefound and Kickstarter that I've been following and backed and still trying to decide whether I might back. Leave me some information down in the comments below about what you've backed. Which of these games I've mentioned are you excited about? Which ones maybe that I didn't mention that you're excited about? Do you know of some that are on the horizon that I didn't talk about that you want to let me know about? Tell me in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up, and it'd be terrific if you'd choose to subscribe to the channel as well. As always, thanks for watching. This is Billy Indiana, signing off.